And he just admitted, the leader, they can't coexist. We are unable to, because apparently they're too moral, they're too smart, they're too intelligent. Suck my whole booty cheeks from left to right and everything in between the crack. Yaps. It's in the name. The CEO has uploaded. Let's hear what he has to say, huh?
That don't have the best understanding of the India-Pakistan conflict or even the history of the two countries. I believe most people's intentions are noble.
I definitely don't understand the history of all the conflict, but I definitely understand what's going on with this war.
Most people are hoping for peace between India and Pakistan. But as a result, unfortunately, some people are trying to place some or a lot of the blame of the current conflict on India. They're asking India to sue.
I really feel like none of the current, what's happening right now, has anything to do with Indian actions, right? They're just reciprocating the actions that were given to them because Pakistan did something very similar to a certain music festival where there was just people at a music festival enjoying life, enjoying love and happiness. In India, it was in Pelagram where people were out in the sun with their families, with the kids, enjoying the park. And then all of a sudden, these guys came out and asked, "Are you Hindu or are you Muslim?" And then if you answered wrong in their eyes, you died. But breaking news: India's Rashtriya Rifles eliminated 3 terrorists who were linked to that Pahalgram attack. I know it's blurred, the image is blurred out, and there's lines over the face so you can't see. But the dudes that were flexing about killing, women, children, and murdering husbands in front of wives, those dudes are now dancing in hell. They think they're playing with 72 virgins, but they didn't realize those 72 virgins are little demons that are going to go tickle their butthole.
For peace. But the problem with that is that Pakistan keeps showing you their colors over and over again. And for some reason, the world either ignores it or simply isn't aware of it. So hopefully, I can help. As you may have seen, after the brutal terror attack in Pahalgam,
I hate this too because Pakistan does show its true colors. They made a ceasefire agreement with us to get money, to get like $1 billion loan, and then guess what? The moment they get it, bada boom, bada bing, they start attacking again.
which was planned and orchestrated by Pakistan, where Hindus were singled out and murdered. The Indian Armed Forces conducted a devastating airstrike on Pakistan, targeting 9 terrorist bases as well as 9 Pakistani Air Force bases. What's very important to remember here is that the armed forces went out of their way to ensure that no civilian areas were targeted, come what may. Between the 2 airstrikes by the Indian Air Force, the Pakistanis used drone and missile strikes over a 3-day period to target civilian areas in 26 cities in India. Again, I say, Pakistan keeps showing you who they are. After taking a walloping that would make even the San Marino national football team feel embarrassed, Pakistan immediately contacted India for a ceasefire. India agreed, and what did Pakistan do in response? Barely an hour after the ceasefire was announced, Pakistan attempted more shelling and drone strikes near civilian areas in India. Again,
once more, when this happened in real time, you can go back and watch my videos. I was like, sweet, we got a ceasefire. And then they broke the ceasefire, and I was like, we got to turn them into a parking lot, which sucks because it's like it needs to be precise because and you guys are yelling at me in the comments beforehand that there are people in Pakistan, the everyday people, who are celebrating their victories, right? Or quote unquote victory. Obviously, it's not a victory in our eyes, but there's also a lot of people who aren't on the internet, who aren't being shown on the internet, who just want this conflict to be over and done with. And it seems like everyone else in the world does except for Pakistan.
Pakistan keeps showing you who they are. Because since October 7th, there's been a lot of discussion globally about the immorality of targeting civilians during a conflict. Any targeting of civilians by Hamas or Israel has been rightfully condemned. However, there seems to be a blind spot in the global community when it comes to Pakistan, because targeting civilians has been Pakistan's modus operandi for nearly 7 decades. They attacked India in 1947 in order to acquire more Indian land and deliberately targeted civilians. India defended herself and sued for peace. India took the matter to the United Nations for a peaceful resolution. And what did India get in return? We got systematic ethnic cleansing of minorities, read civilians, in West and East Pakistan. A systematic murder, no, a genocide of over 3 million people were
Hold on, what did that say? I just want to go back and hear that, or read that.
A systematic...
A brutal war that followed lasted for 9 months. Estimated total of number civilian and military death ranged from 500,000 to 3 million. Millions of refugees fled to neighboring India. Groups of Bengali guerrilla fighters known as Mukti Bani and regular soldiers helped by the Indian military fought back against the West Pakistani army. West Pakistan eventually surrendered on the 16th of December 1971, known as Victory Day, leading to the creation of Bangladesh.
Murder, no, a genocide of over 3 million people, where India had to finally step in.
I'm like, if I remember right, Omni, he's from Bangladesh, so shout out Omni.
1971. After winning the 1971 war, India once again chose peace. India, despite being in a position of overwhelming strength, signed the Shimla Agreement, choosing a peaceful settlement with Pakistan rather than continue hostilities. And what did India receive in return? Pakistan sponsored terrorism in Kashmir, which directly led to the ethnic cleansing of the indigenous Hindu civilians of the state. Nearly 400,000 indigenous Kashmiri Hindus were either murdered or expelled from their ancestral homeland of thousands of years. Despite this, India still looked for peace. India initiated the Aman Ki Asha campaign to create stronger bonds and better cultural and economic exchange between the two countries. And what did India receive in return? Multiple bombings of trains, markets, and other public areas from Pakistan, all aimed at killing and maiming civilians.
Eventually, India is going to have to respond with more force than Pakistan can respond with. And what I mean by that is, if you guys watch Asmongold, he and I are the same, where I believe in direct, harsh accountability for those making the decisions, right? So you find the people that is pretty open who are making the decisions in Pakistan, and you turn them, their second one, and their third ones up into pink dust. And you let them know, hey, if you guys even think about bombing us again, we're going to do this again. And the fourth, fifth, sixth person in line to take over, you're all dying as well. And I promise you Pakistan will stop, right? They'll stop. They'll focus back on invading the rest of Europe, because apparently, you know, Muslims love their country and their land and their culture, but they never stay there. They want to go to where there's not any of that and spread it there. Mostly because I think that they're oppressed, and they're like, oh my God, people are having fun and have freedoms. We can't have that. If I don't have that, nobody can have that.
Culminating in the 2008 Mumbai terror attack, where Pakistani terrorists ran rampant in Mumbai and murdered over 180 people, an overwhelming majority of whom were Indian, European, Israeli, and American civilians. Despite all of this, when the current Prime Minister won the election in 2014, one of his first actions was to sue for peace. He invited the Pakistani Prime Minister to his inauguration ceremony, made an official trip to Pakistan, hugged the Pakistani Prime Minister, and declared a clear intent on the part of his government and the people of India of developing long-lasting peace with Pakistan. You know where I'm going with this at this point, right? What did we get in return? More terror attacks, culminating in the Pahalgam attack, where Pakistani trained and backed terrorists singled out and murdered 26 Hindu civilians specifically because of their religion. They proudly told the survivors that they are being left alive so they can tell the rest of the country and the Indian Prime Minister what happened here.
That is something out of an anime. Like, that is just straight up evil. And you have to fight evil with good, right? And sometimes good is doing violence. Maybe not violence is the right word. Self-defense, retaliation. I don't want to say revenge, but you got to get your lick back.
Very, very important for the world to understand that this is the kind of country and regime that we are dealing with here. To their credit, both the left-wing and the right-wing political parties in India have reached out their hand to Pakistan and tried to make peace. And what India has received in return has been unadulterated, nuclear-grade religious bigotry and the constant targeting of civilians. See, the thing that people don't
It has been nuclear-grade bigotry for sure.
Understand about India and Pakistan is that India is the country that has a military. America is a country that has a military. Peru, Mexico, Vietnam are countries that have militaries. Pakistan is an Islamist military that owns a country, that rules over a landmass. I use the word Islamist responsibly because the most important man in Pakistan, Pakistani General Asim Munir, just days before the Pahalgam attacks, waxed eloquently about the two-nation theory and the Pakistani army and the Pakistani public's undying belief in the two-nation theory, that the Hindus and Muslims are two completely different civilizations and people and simply cannot coexist, and that it is the sacred duty of the Muslims to subdue or destroy the disbelieving Indians.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's all Muslims or Islamists. I'm not saying it is, but it's always them. And he just admitted, the leader, they can't coexist. We are unable to, because apparently they're too moral, they're too smart, they're too intelligent. Suck my whole booty cheeks from left to right and everything in between the crack. These people This idea needs to be eradicated from this planet.
We are different from the
We can legitimately, I feel like we, even like America, China, Russia, all of these very large, ego-filled religions with tons of pride, or cultures with tons of pride, can coexist and live together, even with all of our differences. It's only this group, and they're the ones who are outspoken saying, nah, we can't coexist. You got to think the way we think. And you know what they got in retaliation of that? Pretty sure that they got their nuclear bombs, or one of the bases, bombed. So this guy thinks he was right. An earthquake was caused due to India hitting, using a missile to hit near a nuclear facility in Pakistan to warn what they are capable of. Honestly, I think they should have just hit their own nukes and caused them to explode and have that little chain reaction. This is just to prove why Pakistan shouldn't have any nukes. And I get that Ukraine and Russia both have nukes, but no one's worried about them using it. I think it's just because Russia is so much larger than Ukraine. We know that it's not going to really escalate to that. With India and Pakistan, you can't trust Pakistan. We could trust India if Modi says they're not going to use the nukes. Unfortunately, I trust him. I don't think that's going to be a diversion so they can use the nukes on Pakistan. I feel like Pakistan says they're not going to use the nukes. Guess what? They're thinking about using them nukes.
Hindus in every possible aspect of life. Our religion is different. Our customs are different. Our traditions are different. Our thoughts are different. Our ambitions are different. That was the foundation of the two-nation theory that was laid there. That we are two nations. We are not one nation. So because of that,
that is so bad, right? Like, that's not leadership. Hey, all of these people here, no, some of them are others.
Forefathers, they struggled, mounted that incessant struggle to create this country. Our forefathers, they have sacrificed immensely, and we have sacrificed a lot for the creation of this country, and we know how to defend it.
The point of this historical lesson was to
I don't think you know how to defend it, right? I just think you know how to create conflict. I don't think you care about defending.
show you that we're not dealing with a regular country.
And in fairness, I don't think he gives a crap about any of his actual people, right? I think he's just a selfish coward of a man.
We're dealing with a bully.
That's who
a
that
bully
is.
that targets defenseless civilians to attain its religious and political goals. The only way to deal with a bully like this, especially if you've been bullied in your own life, is to stand up to the bully. In this
No, he's right. You punch the bully in the face. They're going to get shocked. They're going to go, what the heck happened? And then you full on attack to where they're begging on their hands and knees. And then you look at them and you remind them, look at the mirror every day for the rest of your life and understand that the only thing you're going to see in that reflection is a clown and is a pathetic little man. Now run away with your tail between your legs. And if he tries to talk back, slap him across the mouth because you've already inserted your dominance.
example of the bully, the international community was supposed to be the school administration who was
Say,
supposed to protect people from being bullied. However, the international community has not only turned a blind eye to the victims of this bully, but over the last few decades have provided this bully with billions of dollars with virtually no strings attached, ensuring that the bully never really learns their lesson. So the victims of the bully, in this case India, has no choice but to stand alone and stand up for themselves. Hopefully, this explains India's actions over the last week, and I hope that if the people talking about peace between India and Pakistan are genuine actors who genuinely wish for peace, then they would show the same anger and horror about the targeting of civilians that they have been expressing in the Israel-Hamas conflict. Pakistan for the last 70 years and multiple times in the last week has shown you its true face. You would be blind or disingenuous not to see it.
You'd definitely be disingenuous. And like, I'm thinking in my head, what does Pakistan even have to offer? I know they're like an agricultural country that, you know, depends on their crops and whatnot. I don't know how much longer that's going to be with India kind of messing with their water supply. I hope India continues to restrict it. I understand that they kind of flooded. They released a lot of water all at once. So I don't know. I'm going to be curious. We're going to continue to follow this conflict through the ups and downs. But really, I just wanted to get to a point in this video where we could talk about, like, yo, did India hit one of Pakistan's nuclear facilities because of these earthquakes that are happening over in Pakistan, or were they testing something to get ready to escalate this even more so? Because I don't know about you guys, but I genuinely have, like, in the back of my head, I have a fear that this could escalate into, like, a legitimate World War III. And I just don't understand how Pakistan at this point in time has any friends in the world. They just lie, they backstab, they can't coexist with you unless you think the way that they think. Like, they just need to be turned into pink dust. And by they, not the people. just the government officials and the people higher up in the military who are making these decisions. You want to go fight? You go fight. Now I'm all fired up. I'm going to do my best to end out this video on a high note, so I want you guys to make somebody laugh today, because there's enough hate, there's enough vitriol, there's enough stuff that'll just make your blood freaking boil. So spread some love, spread some laughter, spread joy today. Make somebody laugh, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.